All right, I'm finally back. I have a little bit of time this morning. I thought I'd have a lot of time, but my computer, it's always something, which is why I like doing this because I'm always like a step ahead of computer issues and like dealing with stuff and getting frustrated when things don't work. I feel like I get all of that kind of out of my system and I've kind of seen everything pretty much. So I had a driver issue. I couldn't hit play on here. So I just had to download and install a new driver. So let's look at the last video that I did. It was Python for DevOps chapter 13 part 8. So I'm going to open the book. Okay, so this stuff is so frustrating. Like I'm trying to do something and it's as if I were trying to read a book and some guy walked in my room, slapped me in the face and said, you can make flashcards. It's like I'm trying to do something, please. Okay, so here we go. So this is the example here that we were trying to get to work. We've got to so we've got to get this to work. Where we left off with it, I didn't have a AWS account. So let me try to pull up where I was with this. Okay, so here we go. AWS CDK examples. Everything's looking normal now. So yeah, I was going through a online tutorial, and I should have that in the description here. So yeah, here's the tutorial I was going through. It was on GitHub. Yeah, it was to set up the URL shortener. There are two prerequisite examples that have to be successfully completed before going on to the next one. So we're going to need a real AWS account. We're going to need to set up a VPC. So let's take a look at the AWS free tier services. Okay, I think I might already have a free account. Let's see if I can log in with it. Okay, so I need a verification code. I'm gonna do that off camera, so I'll pause and type that in. Okay, and now I can unpause. I'm at the sign in page, so I'm gonna sign in as a root user. I think generally you should change that to not do everything with the root user, but okay, so actually this wasn't the answer. It looks like the authentication failed. I would like to maybe make a new account if I can. Let me try to do that. So I'm gonna do free tier AWS. I'm going to complete the sign up. Authentication information is incorrect, so I think I'm gonna say I forgot my password and type in these characters. Now this is something I really don't want to get accidentally posted on the internet, because somebody could take my AWS account and then charge me with the services and get free services if they're really good with this. So I'm gonna pause it and come back when I'm logged in. Okay, so this is looking a lot better now. I forgot what my password was. It's going to be a different password for AWS services than it is to like do shopping on Amazon. So I just reset the password to something secure, and now I'm in here, and I should have a real account number. Now this is another thing where it's a little bit scary to show my account number. I'm not sure if that's kosher to do online, just in public like this. But I'm going to set some other things that probably aren't as big of a problem. So the region, I'll set that so it's US-East-1. Okay, so it was already on that. Then I've got the account number. Let's try to set the zone name. Well, first let's look for the service. So it's a VPC. So you can click services here. I think it's so it's under networking, content, and delivery, and it's an isolated cloud resource. It's a VPC. Okay, so now what I need is probably to give my VPC an ID, and then I need the zone name. Let's see if I can set that. Okay, so here's setting zones. We know that the region is going to be East 1, and so there are multiple options for that. I'm not sure how to set a zone name. I'm pretty sure I am under. Oh, here's my account ID. All right. Well, is it? Let me ask ChatGPT. Okay, so I'm making a public YouTube video. Testing. ChatGPT. Nothing is working this morning. Hopefully this is not a sign of things to come for the rest of the day. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Okay, am I getting it here? I'm getting it there. So why am I not getting it here? No sound from microphone. Okay, well the microphone setting is probably wrong. Testing 1 2 3 now. Now is it working? Okay, here's where I can make changes. So yeah, it's using because this is so annoying. The Oculus I used my Oculus in forever, but I started tinkering with it a little bit lately, and it takes over all your settings. So like, first of all, 1 2 3, there's 3 different options to set it to Oculus, even though there's only one device. And then not only that, it hijacks all your settings, and it does that every single time. All right, does this work now? All right, does this work now? Does this work now? No, it's still hijacked my settings. No, that looks good. Yeah, it's hijacked my settings still. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. What if I refresh now that I have this set up? Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. What if I do a cache refresh as well? Control R. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. What if I disable this? Testing 1 2 3, so no sound from microphone still. Yeah, and then the other thing is sometimes even when you set it, it still doesn't work. So I'm gonna unplug my Oculus. I really don't need it, especially not for today. All right, and hopefully these options disappeared. No, they're still up there. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Yeah, so with my Oculus, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Yeah, with my Oculus setup, I can't use other things because it overrides the. Like, I'm surprised that OBS is even working. All right. Well, I can't interact with ChatGPT the way I usually do. Um Man. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. I guess one thing I can try to do is uninstall my Oculus. It really doesn't matter for me to have my Oculus. Uh, it's just kind of messing around. So I'm gonna uninstall Oculus because I don't need it. It's just a toy. There we go. Yeah, if I really need it, then I'll figure this out later when I have more time. Yes, please. What I don't want is for me to click this, go here and have everything default here because we can see it's choosing this over the choices that I make, and I can't have that. I need to figure out how to make it so that either the only options available are the options I want, or the other options are don't have precedence over the options I want. All right, so what about now? Testing 1 2 3. Nope, still nothing. So let me open the sound settings. And okay, so we do have these are gone. I don't know what these are. These are just basic headphones. But that looks fine. Okay, so here's where we can make a change. Yeah, and we can see it's actually coming up now. So this should be good. All right, now testing 1 2. Yay! Okay, I fixed it. So that's kind of nice. I get ahead of the curve with this. So let me ask it. Let me stay on track here. So I'm making a public YouTube video about Python for DevOps, which involves AWS. I'm going to have to use a AWS free services account to make this video. And I'm concerned that if I accidentally make things like my account ID public, it could mean that people take my information and give me fraudulent charges. Is it true that I have to absolutely protect things like my AWS account ID and like edit the video to black it out and stuff? Or can I just post it and trust that like nothing bad will happen to me if that information is out there? Which information do I need to absolutely make sure is censored if I'm making this video? I know that the account password is important to censor, so I did have that censored, but I really do not have enough time or energy to go through these videos and edit them extensively before I post them. If I can't do it in real time, then I really don't have time to spend. This is a hobby of mine. It is not a professional obligation. I don't get paid for this. I'm just volunteering my time to help the wider technology community, and I don't want to have to deal with things like fraudulent charges, and I don't want to have to like take these videos really seriously and like go through with a fine-tooth comb and like edit out any sensitive information. I just want that sensitive information to be protected during the making of the video, such as pausing the video briefly while I enter my password and having my passwords protected and hidden as I type them in. But I can't do that with things like my AWS free tier account ID. Okay, and the playback's messed up, I think. Playback's messed up. Yeah, this has to be this.
This is information that you should be cautious about sharing publicly. AWS account ID. While your AWS account ID itself is not a direct security threat if exposed, best practices suggest keeping it private whenever possible. The account ID could potentially be used in combination with other information to attempt targeted attacks or to impersonate your identity in social engineering attempts.
Yeah, that's a problem.
It's advisable.
Well, shoot. Yeah, I'm just thinking whether or not I should post this video. Let's wait for this to generate, and then listen to the whole thing out loud.
Your approach to creating educational content on YouTube about Python for DevOps, especially involving AWS, is commendable and highly beneficial for the tech community.
Yes.
Your concern about safeguarding personal and sensitive information is valid and important to address to prevent any potential misuse or fraudulent activities.
Yes.
When it comes to Oz and similar cloud sources, there are specific pieces of information that you should be cautious about sharing publicly. AWS account ID. While your AWS account ID itself is not a direct security threat if exposed, best practices suggest keeping it private whenever possible. The account ID could potentially be used in combination with other information to attempt targeted attacks or to impersonate your identity in social engineering attempts. It's advisable to obscure hidden videos, access keys, and secret keys. These should never be shared publicly.
Yeah.
They can provide direct access to your AWS resources and services. Always ensure any part of your video showing such keys is blurred or edited out. Passwords. As you correctly identified, passwords should never be visible. Use password managers or type them in off-screen to avoid exposure. Security group settings. Be cautious when showing AWS security group settings. Accidentally revealing open ports can invite unwanted access attempts to your resources. Resource names and identifiers. Sometimes specific resource names or identifiers can give away information about your architecture, which could be useful for someone attempting to exploit your system. This is more context-specific but worth considering. API keys and tokens for other services. If you're integrating Oz with other services, make sure any API keys or tokens for those services are not exposed. For content creators like yourself, especially when working as a hobbyist without extensive time for post-production, here are some tips to protect sensitive information. Preparation. Before recording, review the content that will be displayed and plan how to avoid showing sensitive information. This might involve preparing scripts or using demo accounts where possible. Real-time editing. Some screen recording software allows you to blur parts of the screen in real time or to switch to a different scene when entering sensitive information. Use environment variables. Instead of typing sensitive information directly, use environment variables that are not displayed on the screen. Oz IAM roles. Use AWS identity and access management (IAM) roles and policies to limit the permissions of the account being used in demonstrations, minimizing the impact if information does leak. In this situation, it's understandable that extensive post-production is not feasible. Implementing these practices during the recording phase can help minimize the risk of exposing sensitive information. While it's true that not all information is equally sensitive, erring on the side of caution is wise in public setting like YouTube.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. The account ID itself is not a direct security threat if exposed, according to, you know, hallucinating AI that just makes things up. So it could be used in combination with other information. So I think this video is fine, but I really do like the suggestion of using an AWS IAM role. Because then if that account is compromised, you know, I just delete that. It's not the root account. It's not as big of a problem. So I guess that's what I want to try to do somehow. So let's go to services. Let's go to security. Oh, here we go. Yeah, security, identity, and compliance. Let's go to IAM, manage access to AWS resources. And let's actually set up, at the very least, make these security recommendations go away here. So the major one is we need a multi-factor authentication. So that's a big one. If I accidentally leak my password, yeah. So you can use the authenticator app. You can use a security key. So the multi-factor will be my cell phone. And it can't be like that. There we go. All right, and then yeah, so it's got the QR code hidden. So I've already got Google Authenticator installed. Yeah, we're gonna add multi-factor like this. Oh, so we got three options for multi-factor. The first one is use an app such as Google Authenticator and type in a number. The second option is to open your Authenticator app and use the app to scan this hidden code here, which is great that it's hidden. And then the third one is to enter in these codes here, these secret codes. So I'm going to define the secret codes, hit add, and I'm going to do that off camera. So I'm pausing. Okay, and I'm unpausing now. An error occurred. So this is not how I thought it was, where you define a code here and then you do it later. What this is you go on your phone, you open Google Authenticator app, or whatever app you have that's an authenticator app, and then it'll give you codes in there. So you type in one, and then you wait for it to expire, and then you type in the very next one, and then click Add MFA. So I'm going to do that off camera. I'll be right back. All right, so again, I got this confused. So when I said that there are 3 ways of doing multi-factor authentication, I completely misunderstood what this was saying. This is actually a tutorial. This is it's instructions to set up your device for multi-factor authentication. So the first thing you do is you install the application. Then you have to basically register a thing that you want to authenticate to. So in your authenticator app, you need to click the plus sign, and then you need to click scan a QR code. And now you show the secret code and you scan it. So I'm going to do that off camera. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So yeah, that was a 3-step process. You need to install the app. You need to scan the code with the app. So you have to hit the plus sign in Google Authenticator if that's what you're using, and add the code by scanning it. And then add in 2 codes that it gives you consecutively. So it'll give you a number, type in the number, then 30 seconds later or so the number will expire and show a new one. Type that one in, and now you're good. So I've got everything all set up for my IAM. I'm not going to show the results of that because that's, has a lot of sensitive information, my account ID, all that. There's really not going to be a good way to do this publicly without really having to think over the security best practices in IAM. So I want to at least, glance this over and read some of the basics of this. And then when I go and actually do the example here, I'll be using environment variables. I'll define them off camera, and then I'll be calling in the environment variables and doing it that way. That should be plenty secure, unless I accidentally show something I didn't mean to. Yeah, so here's just the best practices. I'll just read the topics. I won't go into any further detail, and then I'll end the video. I'm running out of time here. So the first best practice is to require human users to use federation with an identity provider to access AWS using temporary credentials. The next one is to require workloads to use temporary credentials with IAM roles to access AWS. Require multi-factor authentication that I just set up, so I have that one checked off. Update access keys when needed for use cases that require long-term credentials. Follow best practices to protect your root user credentials. I may still need to do something with that. That's a good one to look into in more depth in the next video. Apply least privilege permissions. Get started with AWS managed policies and move toward least privilege permissions. Use IAM Access Analyzer to generate least privilege policies based on access activity. Regularly review and remove unused users, roles, permissions, policies, and credentials. Use conditions in IAM policies to further restrict access. Verify public and cross-account access to resources with IAM Access Analyzer. Use IAM Access Analyzer to validate your IAM policies to ensure secure and functional permissions. Establish permissions guardrails across multiple accounts. Use permissions boundaries to delegate permissions management with an account. So next video, I'll be maybe going into more depth with some of these, especially the one for using best practices to protect my root user credentials. And then when it comes to the actual example, I'll be keeping this information private by using environment variables. All right, so that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.